Hello, everyone. Welcome to Math Topics. How do I learn mathematics? Today's video, the topic of the conversation is about taking notes. You have no idea how important is this process in the learning of mathematics or the learning of every subject. Today's day, we face great challenges in our classrooms. I don't know in your country, but in my country, the United States of America, in our classrooms, we face important and critical challenges in how to make the students take notes. Beside any other resources, beside text or beside printed materials, beside technology, beside artificial intelligence access to beautiful notes, the art of taking notes is for me essential in the process of integration of learning. So when you learn, you listened. When you learned, you have the sense of vision. When you learn, you read. When you learn, you actually pay attention to what it says. But there is one component that helps to integrate the vision, the audition, which is taking notes. And every course of mathematics should start with that preparation. How can we take notes and how can we promote a student's abilities to take notes? Welcome to Math Topics. Welcome to How Do I Learn Mathematics? I'm going to start with this example of the sign of a function. And I'm using one of my notes. I'm using the one that I use in my classroom. To make the students understand, this is basically in Introduction to Algebra, without talking about any particular content. I talk about the how do you know if the function is positive or the function is negative, and I make them to create their own note based on my particular example. So I'm going to start with the coordinate systems. This is what I do. This is really what I do. This is a piece of paper, and I create the coordinate systems, and this is a guided instruction. I ask them to create their own coordinate system. You have no idea how many problems we have in mathematics with the coordinate system. In high school, for example, in middle school. So they can draw the two axes, they can name the axis, and we can use the quadrants right here. We can see here the points in the first quadrant, how they looks like. Both of them are positive. You can put an example right here. You can say that the coordinate of this point is 2, 3. So you can do that. And you can say, look what happened here in the first quadrant. The numbers are positive. The students need to interact while they are writing. It's not only sitting down in a classroom looking over there to see your explanation on the board with valuable technology and visualization, but it's also making the students wake up, start writing, for you to realize what is the location of that point and why we say that XY in the first quadrant is positive. So right here we have the second quadrant, and I make them to write the note, but I make them to create a point right here. Okay, this is a point. Let me use right here the coordinate of the point, -1 to the left and 1 and 2 units up. So it's -1 and 2. -1 and 2. So it's very simple. And basically is something that I recommend. So you can use, the students can use different colors in order to realize what is going on. And they can see now, oh, the X value is negative and the Y value is positive. You have no idea how important it is to master this. How important is that they have this node forever, because this is essential. I put it right here. This is essential to understand calculus, to understand function behavior. It's really essential to understand the rest, even trigonometry. So this is amazing. If the students can master this in a way of they can understand algebra, they can understand calculus, they can understand geometry, they can understand then why the sign is, the point on the coordinate system is cosine sign. And when the sign is positive, when the cosine is positive, because all of that is related with X and Y coordinates and the signs. And you can do the same for, the third quadrant. And you can pinpoint right here in the third quadrant. And you can make it, create the coordinate, to write the coordinate of the point. And they can do the same in the four quadrants. And they can see that this is 2 units to the right and 2 units down. And the sense of -2 is right here. And the sense of +2 is right here. This is one of my notes. Coordinate system. The mastering of the coordinate system. And they can have this forever. They can have that forever. This is a reference. The same about the sign of a function. So I use here the absolute value function. When a function is positive, when a function is negative, they need to take the note. They need to understand that above the x-axis, we have positive right here. And below the x-axis, we have negative. And this function, which is the absolute value function, that you can show them an example here. You can tell them, hey, this is what the function does. The function is assigning a positive value because it's the distance from 0 to the number. So what is the distance from -3 to 0? Oh, it's +3. The distance from 1 to 0 is +1. The distance from 2 to 0 is +2. And you generate the point here. And you can say in which quadrant this point is. And then what happened with the y coordinate here? Positive. What happened with the y coordinate here? Positive. What happened with the y coordinate here is positive. So independently what is the x, the y is always positive. So the function is positive along the x-axis. This is integration of visualization, integration of mathematics, integration of writing as an important tool in mathematics. And then you can move to another example. We can move to another example without saying what type of function is this. For example, this one. It looks like the sign of x, but we don't talk about that. We talk about above and below. Okay, right here between 0 and 4. What happened there? Oh, the function is above. Above of 0. Depending on the extreme, 0 and 4. And what happened here after 4, all the way here? Oh, the function is below. So this is essential to understand function notation. So every point here on this interval, right here, every y value, every output is positive. And every output here is going to be negative, because it's below. and they start understanding the why, because this is important. How the students understand why, because then when the notation comes to play, when that notation comes to play, you said, oh, the function in the interval, I don't know, x less than 4 greater than 0 in that interval here. So when you start writing more sophisticated notation, they understand that the function in that interval between 0 and 4 is positive. Okay, it's positive. So in the other interval, the function is, let me erase here, the function is, in this interval, the function is negative. So then you introduce notation, but you cannot introduce notation without visualization, without listening, without seeing, without acting, without writing. And you can do this for many others examples, procedures, for example. So I have notes for procedures, how to write the equation of the line. What do you need to write the equation of the line? Okay, you need 2 points, or you need the point and the slope. But when they actually write the note, okay, when they actually write the note, let's say, I don't know, I need to find the slope between these 2 points. This is without the coordinate system. And I said, oh, it's rise over run. That's the slope. Okay, I'm not talking about X and Y here. I'm talking about motion. And this is what I have to do. The students need to understand that the Y is a motion and the X is a motion. And then it's when it comes the notation delta Y and delta X, eh? And then is when it comes Y2 minus Y1 or X2 minus X1, no? But right, everything comes from here. Everything comes from here. And this is the rise, and this is the run, and this is the Y, and this is the X. And between these two, what we have is a difference. And between these two, what we have is a difference. And they understand the long process. But the long process starts with writing notes. And writing the process of thinking, put it on paper. This is essential. Super essential. You can have access right now to all of those notes and more resources in our membership new member area. So if you buy your membership, you will have access to my notes. You will have access to my resources. I will appreciate if you join our beautiful new membership group. Thank you so much. I hope you like it. I hope you share your ideas too. And I hope that you subscribe if this is your first time in Math Topics. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.